introduce you all to three different animals: big fish, shark, whale. They all investors. Big fish, ain't nothing more going on this fish. So we got a job in. He don't really know how he gonna flip it. All right. Today on Financial Freedom Fighters, we have Vernon Hansley Jr. Welcome, my brother.
Yo, thank you, man. Thank you for having me here.
Appreciate it, man. I'm glad you were able to make it. So, to tell the audience a little bit about yourself, this guy I met when I rented a commercial property out on in Southwest, right there on Baltimore Ave. He had a solid real estate business. He came, he introduced himself. We talked a couple times. Solid guy, man. Been seeing him on social media. Real estate investor and also entrepreneur. So I just want to hear a little bit about your story. But first, as I asked everybody else when I started off, what sparked your journey to financial freedom fighting? What made you be the one in your family to want to kind of wave that flag and make that about your life?
To be honest, yo, even when I was young, when I was a kid, I never really wanted to work for nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I was always an entrepreneur as a kid. You know what I mean? I had a job, man, since I was 14, 10 to 14, man. You know, okay. So I knew I never really want to work for nobody, right? So, right. But the way I got into real estate though, I was doing like, I would say like 7, 8 years ago, I was doing music and I had a studio in my basement and stuff like that. But at the time, I had a barbershop and a salon, right? That I owned at the time. And not because I'm just was an entrepreneur. I don't know how to cut hair. I don't know nothing about that. The opportunity was there. So I'm like, you mean I'm going, let me work this opportunity. But what changed one of the books that changed my life was Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? Okay. That book changed my life, and it made so much sense of how you can how both sides of the world, how both sides of the, you know what I mean, the two different lifestyles. You know what I'm saying? From the rich dad to poor dad, but I'm taking it from a hood nigga to a poor, so you know what I mean, to somebody that's rich, you know what I'm saying? And I'm and I'm putting it all together. I'm taking what they saying and I'm putting it to our hood grind that we got as black people, right? Mm-hmm. I'm saying, oh, this is the same thing. You know what I mean? So once I did that, read that book, that changed my life. You know what I mean? And I and that kind of clicked with me. And I'm like, all right, this is it. All right, this all makes sense. This is easy. Assets, liabilities, right? And I never forget what happened was, so I had at one time I had my studio at my aunt's house in the basement of my house, and my aunt lost her house to foreclosure, right? And while she losing her house, I'm losing my studio. But I was trying to find any information I can to save her house, right? So I'm like trying to save her house because I'm always been a go-to guy in my family on that side. I'm trying to find what I could do, save information how to save her house, and I didn't succeed to save her house. But that night, that night that I packed up my studio, and the next day my aunt had to leave out the house, right? Excuse me, she had to leave out the house. I told my partner at the time, I said, "Yo, across the street, they bought that joint for $70,000, and they sold it for like $140. I'm going to look into that." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? So from there, from I think that whole whatever summertime or whatever that time frame, I was just kind of searching and I was just learning. You know what I mean? And then, I got $500. I ain't had $500. I got $500 from my dad. I went to my dad and said, "Yo, is a seminar coming up, a Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar coming up. I need to borrow $500. I give it back." You know what I'm saying? I was working off. I'm working, but I'm like, paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? So I'm paycheck to paycheck, and so he gave me the $500, and then I went to the seminar, and then everything it just kind of went from there. You know what I mean? The information I just kept grabbing information from different people, different everywhere I went, and just kind of went from there. You know what I mean? And but that $500 was a thing, and I tell people now, you know what I mean. I always tell people, man, you know, I started with $500, you know what I mean,
Right.
and that's the truth, you know.
Right. Got you. Well, that's a beautiful thing, man. It sounds like you betted on yourself, man. You won.
Yeah,
At the end of the day.
yeah,
You wanted to have control of your own fate. You
yeah,
invested. Somebody
mhm,
believed in you. What your pop was,
yeah,
you know what I mean. Believed in you,
yeah,
gave you that $500. You invested in education, and you capitalized off it. So you know what I mean. You got to tip your hat off to that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
my question for you, following up on that, is what made you have the courage to do that? I mean, I'm sure that in real estate, and I can speak for myself, and as an entrepreneur, you look for the stability, right? And as an entrepreneur, you know you're taking risks. You know you're risking your own money at times, even if you leverage and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, what gave you the courage to step out there?
The crazy thing is, so all right, so when that time frame when I started getting educated, I think I went probably like 2 years just trying to find information and education. So then I was still working. I was working at I was managing Jiffy Lube, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was managing Jiffy Lubes, and this is the thing. And I think my mind switched really before I went to my mind did switch before I went to Jiffy Lube. And I tell people is that people don't use their jobs the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had the stability from Jiffy Lube, but my mind was I was never there. I was only using that so I could live my dreams. I was only using that so I could find what I wanted to do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, and just long story short was that before I went to Jiffy Lube, I was managing Boston Market. I left Boston Market because they had a crazy schedule, right? Like the
Right.
schedule was crazy. I ain't really had time to really figure out what I wanted.
Right.
So I went to Jiffy Lube. They had a better schedule. They had like it was like a 9 to 4 Monday through Friday, and then like a 9 to 2 on Saturday and Sunday, something like that.
Got you.
I'm like, yo, I need to get into something like that. Then I have time to focus on me, time to do what I want to do, and find things and find what I want in life. You know what I mean? And
Right.
find
Right.
and educate
What age
myself,
was
right?
this? If you don't mind me asking, what age is this?
I mean, I'm 37 now, so this probably I've been this probably was like 7, 8 years ago.
Okay.
That,
Got you.
that I was at Jiffy that I left Jiffy Lube. I think it was like,
Okay.
you know what I mean, like 7, 8
Got
years
you.
ago, right? And so but what happened was while I was at Jiffy Lube though, um, and I was at Jiffy Lube for like 7 years, yo. But I
Got
always
you.
educated myself and trying to learn because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a hustler, I'm selling,
Right.
I mean, I'm a hustler. So I was always learning stuff. But what happened was I was using Jiffy Lube as my income to help me live my dreams, help me get into real estate, learning real estate. And I started wholesaling while I was there.
Mhm.
So like my last year in Jiffy Lube, I was wholesaling and
Okay.
I was making money, right?
Okay.
I'm making money. I'm killing. I'm making more in 1 month than anybody in the store making. You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? Right.
Okay.
So now it was at a point where as though I'm like, yo, I'm taking phone calls. Sellers is calling me. I'm taking phone calls while I'm trying to run a store and stuff like that, right? And
Right.
the craziest thing that would happen, and that's key, and this is why people have to believe in themselves. So I was already making money at Jiffy Lube, and then I was making money in wholesaling, learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was so they asked me, so I'm assistant manager there. They asked me to run $1 million store, right? They
Right.
said, no, they want to promote me run $1 million store. This is the thing. The whole time that I was at Jiffy Lube, I never got a raise.
Okay.
Two things. I never got a raise, and I kept the same sneakers on for 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
Right? I never got a raise because because I was making so much money. In order for me to get a raise, I would have to be a store manager.
Right.
Now, I didn't want to be a store manager because I didn't want the responsibility to be worried about something on my day off, right? I had to make sure my mind was clear so I could focus on me. I ain't got time to take on extra responsibility. It's not
Right.
not about the money. Motherfuckers think,
Right. Right.
oh, you need no, it's not about the money, nigga, because you'll make the money. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you got time to yourself, you'll figure a way out, right? So
Yeah.
I'm killing it. I'm making money in wholesaling, right? They said, Vernon, I need you to be a store manager. I need you to go take over this $1 million store, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, nah, I ain't doing it. They fucking harassed me, the area manager and all that shit harassed me about taking over $1 million store. I said, no, I ain't doing it. So then the area manager came to my store. Said, listen, man. He came to my store and I'm like, so I pulled him aside. I said, listen, I ain't pull him aside. I just told him right then and there when he's going. I said, listen, if I wanted to have a store, I would have saved up my money all these years and bought my own store. This
Right.
is the type of mentality that I have. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Right? Because it goes back to I knew I wanted to be my own boss. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So even when I was young, I know I'm also. So like 2 weeks later, employee, I'm at the store. Employee fuck something up on a car, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm the manager on duty. You know what happened? They fired me.
Wow. Okay.
7 years, no call out, no raise, right?
Right.
I'm that top tier. I'm that top tier guy that they want me, right? Out of everybody else, they got all these stores, all these managers that they wanted
Right.
me to take over me and out of store because I knew how to run a business. I was already
Right.
running this joint crazy, right?
Right.
They wanted me to take over the store, but they fired me,
Right.
right?
It was a blessing in disguise, though.
It was a blessing in disguise, yo, for real. Because you know the crazy thing is, though, this is the crazy thing is, I was getting married, right? At
Okay.
that time.
Wow.
Around
How it
that,
happened.
so my goal was, okay, I'm gonna get married, and then I'm gonna quit this job after I get married and all that, right? So I
Right.
spent on my wedding, right, at the time, and I'm not married now, but on my wedding, I spent like 25,000, right,
Right.
on my
Okay.
wedding. So this
Right.
is like money that I'm fucking right. So
Right.
when that happened to me, so they fired me right when I was about to get married. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And so I'm like,
Right.
what the fuck, right? I go home. My fucking my ex-wife at the time, I told her, she crying and shit like that, right? And
Wow.
the thing is, God already was start getting me together because I started learning wholesaling and I started really getting successful at it. And so the next day, so they fired me. So the next morning, man, I looked in the mirror, I looked at myself, and I said, yo, this is it. This is what you wanted.
Right.
This is time to go. You got this. And that was it. I walked out the bathroom, right? It was in a little apartment. I walked out the bathroom and it was on ever since. I never went back to work for nobody. I can't, you'll have to you have to
Yeah.
really kill me to take me back to work for somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're
It's not,
unhireable.
but it's not no knock on people that working, right?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
It's just that, I know who I am, you know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
know that there's so many, I know what I'm capable of, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that time is everything. And you have to, and you have to use it wisely. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, absolutely.
I walked out, and that was that, and that started my whole journey of being a full-time real estate investor, man. And it was been on ever since.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. And I see that you took that opportunity. You know, a lot of people, that's why I asked you about courage. Every entrepreneur has to face that thing. And like my wife always says, it's not courage until you're scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some fear there. You know what I mean? And then you stand up to it. So that's
yeah.
what makes the courage. And everybody